Hi, I'm Charles with Anycap. The story begins as our protagonist Kai looks at a chained up girl and he wonders if she is a demon or an angel. The girl asks him for help, but Kai can't believe that she would ask a human for help. Humans and other races have waged a fierce war against each other. This girl doesn't seem to know that, and Kai becomes frustrated because no one seems to remember what the real world is like. A look back shows Kai doing the normal thing he does, where he monitors a graveyard. His friends want him to hurry up, but Kai takes it very seriously. In this world, there are 5 distinct races. The demons, who are wielders of mighty magical powers. The celestials, who are demi-humans such as angels and elves. The spirits, who are creatures that possess special kinds of bodies such as ghosts. There are also the mythical beasts that are colossal fierce monsters such as dragons. Then finally there are the humans. A war waged between the 5 races, and it's incredibly important to make sure that another great war doesn't occur again. Kai belongs to the Urza Federation, and it's their obligation to observe the graveyard where the demons have been sealed away. Kai observes the graveyard for 300 seconds like always, and determines that nothing is strange, so the demons are properly sealed. Kai's co-worker Asura can't understand why Kai takes his job so seriously, but Saki points out that it's good for them because they can take it easy. A demon has not escaped from the seal in the past 100 years, but Kai reminds his co-workers that it's still their job. There are 4 graveyards around the world, and Kai points out that the people in charge of those take their jobs just as seriously. That's because if a demon were to get out, it would be a catastrophe. His friends wish he would take it easy because the demon hasn't broken the seal in some time, but Kai just doesn't want to let his guard down, and he declares that watching over the graveyard is his duty. A while later we watch as Kai does some training, but he is warned that a low-ranked soldier like him using a mythical beast for training is incredibly dangerous. Kai fights it anyway, but he finds that his attacks don't work against it. Saki gets worried, so the hologram is deactivated, and she wishes that Kai wouldn't push himself so far. Kai thinks it would be pointless to train though, if he didn't risk everything. Saki actually kind of admires his determination, and she thinks that if he were alive during the Great War, his name would have gone in the history books. Kai would be like the prophet named Sid, but Kai can't see himself winning against a certain 4 heroes like Sid did. Saki describes each hero from each of the 4 races, and she couldn't imagine what they would do if they were still around. Thankfully, Prophet Sid was able to defeat them using the shining sword given to him by a god named Solaka. There is plenty of evidence that the 4 heroes existed, but there's actually no proof of the Prophet Sid. There are no pictures or videos of him. Saki changes the subject as their friend Jean is being promoted and she wants to celebrate. Jean is getting transferred to headquarters at just 17 years old, and she is the youngest person in history to be selected. She's an elite among elites, so they have to get her more than a bouquet, like Asura suggested. Just then, Kai receives a message from Jean, and Asura reads it out loud. Jean wants to meet with Kai, but she wants him to keep it a secret from Saki and Asura. Kai tries to cover it up by saying that the message isn't really from Jean, but it's too late, and Asura wonders if Kai has a secret relationship with Jean. The friends try to get more information, but Kai just decides to go for a run. The next morning, Kai meets with Jean, and he's glad to see that she's on time because she is usually late for everything. She wonders why Kai is wearing such fancy clothes while off duty, so he explains that he just came from the morning self-training that he does every day. Jean has him accompany her while she does some shopping, and she explains that she's looking for gifts for Saki and Asura. She knows that they're planning to get her something, so she wants to give them something in return. Jean says that she probably will never see them again, but Kai is sure that she will be back as a cadet after her transfer is over in 2 years. Jean predicts that they will have finished their service in the military by then, and they will be civilians. Only herself and Kai will likely still be in the military. Kai agrees with her, but he can tell that she is upset. He knows what's wrong, and tells her not to worry, as he is sure that she will surpass her father, the Urza headquarters chief. The two continue enjoying the day, but Kai doesn't pay much attention to what Jean is shopping for, as he is looking for something for himself. In the end, Jean thanks Kai for helping her pick out some good gifts. The two then discuss how Jean's father took Kai to inspect the graveyard when he was 10 years old. He wandered into the graveyard, and when he came home he told everyone how he saw Sid's sword. Kai has a memory of what it was like inside the graveyard, and how he almost touched the shining sword. This was the day when Kai started talking about how important it is to make sure that the demons don't escape from the graveyard. Jean wonders where they will be in the future, but Kai points out that she will simply be back in 2 years. That isn't what she meant though, as she is talking about after that. Jean wants them to make a promise for the future, but Kai begins to panic as something strange begins to happen. Jean has no clue why he's behaving so strangely, so Kai begins to wonder if he's the only one seeing what's happening. Jean continues to talk like nothing is happening, but Kai is horrified as she is sucked up into a black hole. Just then, a mysterious voice announces that the world reincarnation has been activated and it's time to execute the overriding of the world. Moments later, Kai snaps out of it, but finds himself in a dark and destroyed world. He is then startled when a gigantic and terrifying looking demon appears before him. The fearsome beast uses a magic attack on Kai, and Kai just barely manages to survive by using his sword case as a shield. Kai can't believe that a real demon is standing in front of him, and it prepares another powerful looking attack. Kai rushes to his sword and quickly loads some bullets into it. His weapon is pretty diverse as he's able to fire bullets from it, and he cancels the dragon's magic. The dragon can actually speak, and it is shocked by Kai's cancellation ability. Kai explains that he used modified elven bullets that are created using elven magic. The demon just continues attacking, but Kai shows his incredible fearlessness as he closes the gap between himself and the demon. Kai's sword isn't able to penetrate the demon's skin, but he uses the opportunity to fire a shot at point-blank range. The exhausted Kai explains that the bullet he just used was the modified Drake bullet that reproduces mythical beast breath. It was his first time using it, but Kai is glad to see that he's able to move just like he does in training. This victory has made him confident that he can actually fight real-life demons. Just then, another demon appears and states how laughable it is that a human thinks it can defeat demons. Kai is impressed by how well the demon speaks English, but the demon explains that the most effective way to give orders to a slave is by using its own language. Kai doesn't understand why the demon is calling him a slave, but there is no time to think. The demon says that Kai smells dangerous, so he prepares to eliminate him. Just then, someone rescues Kai by using a flashbang, and they get away. This girl tells her group that the Wanderer has been secured, and she asks to know where Kai is from. Kai is shocked to see that this girl is Saki, but she has no clue how he knows her name. Kai reminds her that they are friends, but she has never seen him before, and neither has Asura. Kai can't understand why they don't remember him, so he reminds them that they are from the same agency. They don't know what he is talking about, and they explain that they are simply soldiers of the resistance. Kai is now the one to be confused, so Saki goes on to say that they are with the human rebel army. This just causes more confusion, so Kai asks them to tell him everything about this world. Asura and Saki assume that he's just flustered from facing a demon. He must have forgotten things, so they try and help him remember. They explain that there was a great war of the 5 races, and humanity lost. Kai is shocked of course, because in his world humanity actually won. Asura goes on to say that they lost the war over 30 years ago, and cities around the world were taken over by the 4 other races. As for the humans, they're barely managing to survive while running and hiding. The 4 other races now rule the world, and they fight each other over territory. Asura and Saki then introduce Kai to the human city called Neo Vashal. A group of humans took an underground space that was still intact and remodeled it into an underground city. The resistance protects the people living there by fighting the 4 races. Kai wonders why the humans lost the Great War, but it's pretty obvious to Asura and Saki. They point to how powerful the demon he just saw was, and explain that they attack humans in groups, and the humans don't stand a chance at beating them. Not only that, but each of the races has a powerful boss that they refer to as a hero. And these heroes are incredibly strong individuals. All of this sounds pretty familiar to Kai, so he wonders what happened to Prophet Sid, humanity's savior. Kai is shocked to hear that they have never heard of Prophet Sid, so he explains that he's supposed to be the human hero who defeated the 4 races. Asura correctly points out that if they had anyone like that, they wouldn't have to live underground like they are. Just then, the main core arrives, and Asura explains that there are several human cities around the world. There are resistance groups in each one, and they are overseen by the main core. The commander of the resistance is someone that has saved many lives, and Kai can't believe his eyes when this person turns out to be Jean, especially because everyone thinks she is a guy. Asura and Saki introduce Kai to the commander, and they explain that his memory is a bit foggy. Jean begins to leave, but Kai can't take all this and he stops her. He tries to remind Jean about who he is and how they were just shopping a few moments ago. Jean of course has no clue what he's talking about, and she assumes that he has her mistaken for someone else. Kai can't believe that she really doesn't know who he is, so he asks her why she's pretending to be a guy. Jean is shocked to hear this, and Kai reminds her that she wanted to surpass her father as his daughter. A soldier named Fallon stops him, and Jean decides to just leave. Kai's new friends worry about him and tell him that he should get some rest. That night, Kai looks through some historical documents and finds that the only records missing are those of himself and Prophet Sid. Just then, Kai realizes something. If Sid never existed and humanity lost the Great War, then why do the graveyards that seal away the 4 races still exist? The next day, Kai asks Saki about the graveyards, but she has never heard of them. Asura lets Kai borrow the car, which upsets Saki, but Asura says that it was just a reflex. Kai arrives at the graveyard and thinks about how this is his first time going alone. He's surprised to find that the blockade stone was removed, and he goes inside. The darkness soon turns to light, and Kai is amazed when he sees the shining sword just sitting there. This proves to him that the legends of Sid must be true. Kai pulls the sword from the mantle, and a loud voice gives Kai the world coordinate key and calls it the code holder. Just then, a giant shining door opens in front of him, and Kai hears a girl calling for help. Kai is shocked to see that he's not in the graveyard anymore, and he goes up some large stairs. At the top, he finds a ton of chains being used to restrain just one girl. Her wings look like they belong to both demons and angels, and the girl begs Kai to free her from the chains. It sounds like the girl says her name is Rin, but Kai can't be sure as she passes out. Kai doesn't think she looks like a demon, so he looks for a way to free her. Kai warns that she better not attack him after he frees her, but he finds that he isn't able to break the chains. A more powerful attack fails as well, so he's out of options because he doesn't have another weapon. Just then, Kai wonders if he can use the shining sword, so he says the words code holder. This causes his weapon to start glowing, and Kai is shocked to see that it transforms into Sid's sword. Using the sword causes massive damage, and the chains are easily broken. The girl is freed, but Kai is startled when she jumps away from him. She angrily screams for someone named Vanessa to come out, and she declares that she hasn't lost to her yet. She thinks that Kai is a wimpy low-ranked demon that Vanessa sent to defeat her, so she attacks him and demands that he bring out Vanessa. Kai managed to dodge her first attack, but her second one is terrifying. Just then, Kai hears a voice say that the code holder can sever fate. Kai uses the shining sword and shocks the girl as he slices right through her attack. Kai even surprises himself, and the girl demands to know what he just did. She still calls him a weak demon, but Kai shows her that he doesn't have wings or a tail. Kai asks her to start trusting him, so she apologizes. She has a serious grudge against demons, which makes Kai realize that she must not be one. Kai wonders what race she is, but she doesn't think that's important. She thanks him for saving her life, and she even apologizes for attacking Kai, but she begs him not to ask about her race. They introduce themselves, and Rin explains that she doesn't know where they are. She was fighting Vanessa, and before she knew it, she was imprisoned in this place. Kai is shocked because Vanessa is the hero of the demons, and she is known as the Dark Empress. This means that Rin is really strong, and she confidently declares that she could wipe out a whole army of demons. Rin is amazed by Kai for canceling her magic, but they are interrupted when a monster appears. This monster sounds like a robot as it announces their threat level to the New World is determined to be the worst. They barely manage to dodge the monster's attacks, so they decide to just run for their lives. Getting away proves to be difficult as the monster is able to teleport itself and it captures Rin. Rin then screams in pain as the monster begins to eliminate her, and Kai gets furious at himself for just standing and watching. His frustration causes him to act, so he tells Sid that he will be borrowing his sword, and his incredible attack frees Rin. The monster is stunned to see the forbidden sword, and she wonders what it's doing there. Just then, a portal opens, and Kai and Rin escape back to the world. Rin expresses how scared she was, and reveals that this is the first time anyone has ever done something like this for her. She was told by the Celestials, the spirits, and even the mythical beasts that she is not one of them. The demons were the cruelest to her as they called her an unsightly abomination. This is what caused her to get into a fight with Vanessa. Kai can relate because no one remembers him, and he feels like he's all alone in this world. Kai says that his world was totally different because in this one, demons have taken over all the cities. Just then, Rin explains that in her version of the world, the demons haven't taken over. Just before her fight with Vanessa, the demon started saying that the hero of the humans had just arrived. Kai is in disbelief as he thinks that this is Sid, but Rin doesn't know who it was. Kai is still relieved because Rin seems to remember the same history he does. Kai thinks that they're pretty similar, and Rin is happy to hear that because no one has ever said that to her before. Outside, Rin collapses and Kai offers to take her to the underground city. Rin is afraid to go to a human city though because she can't trust anyone. Rin does trust Kai though because he saved her life, so she agrees to go with him. Back in his room, Kai thinks about how difficult Rin made the trip back. She was able to hide her wings, but she still stuck out like a sore thumb. She even tried to use magic right in the middle of the city, but Kai can't blame her because she is surrounded by strangers in a strange place. Kai's weapon has reverted back to normal, so he considers trying to change it back. He is interrupted though when Rin needs help shutting off the shower. Rin thinks it's really unfair how humans shower with such warm water because she used to have to shower in freezing cold lakes and rivers. A soft bed is something new to her as well. She did notice that the city on the surface was in ruins, making it clear that the demons really have taken over. Kai has also determined that this world is a world where the results of the war among the 5 races is inverted. Rin simply says that they need to escape this world and return to theirs with the correct history, but Kai isn't sure if there's a way to do that. In the middle of the night, Rin wakes up and warns that the demons have arrived. The city comes under attack and citizens are told to immediately evacuate to a shelter. It's an enemy race invasion and Kai emerges to see how terrifying things are. Kai knew that this version of the world was in bad shape, but seeing how far humanity has been cornered makes him realize how dire the situation is. What's worse is that there is no one who can save humanity. Rin holds on to Kai, but he apologizes and tells her to let him go. He has realized that there's only one person in this world who can play the role of Sid, and that is him. The demons continue to terrorize the city and all attacks against them fail. Saki is sent to get a more powerful weapon, but she quickly finds herself in danger. A demon's about to eviscerate her, but Kai manages to save her just in time. Saki is shocked when Kai tells her to use water against these demons, and he explains that the water makes it hard for them to fly. Just then, Asur is the one to be in danger as he starts getting turned to stone, but Kai rescues him as well. Kai comes under the attack of 2 demons, but he masterfully avoids danger, and Rin backs him up with a magic attack. Kai is impressed by how powerful she is, and she declares that she wants to fight alongside him. Kai's friends have never seen attacks like the ones Kai used, so Kai explains that he came from a world where humans won the Great War of the 5 races. His fighting style and the bullets he uses come from that world. His friends find that hard to believe, but they're interrupted when a report reveals that 2 demons escaped. This means that the demons were just scouting the city and will likely return with even more demons. They need to report back to the rebel army headquarters, so they ask Kai to come with them. Kai is hesitant at first, but his friends are sure that it won't be a problem because of how powerful he is. The headquarters is located in the royal capital. The royal capital was destroyed, but this makes it the perfect location because the demons would never expect the headquarters to be in a place that was ruined. Kai then learns that Jean took over as the leader of the rebels after her father retired from an injury. Kai meets with Jean and the other leaders, but they find it hard to believe that he's from another world where humanity defeated the demons. It's so unbelievable that some members get upset. Kai then reveals that in his world, he was childhood friends with Jean, and that is why he acted like they knew each other before. Kai mentions some names that seem to bother Jean, so she ends the meeting. Later, Kai is told that Jean wants to meet with them again in secret. Kai's information on the demon's weakness to water was incredibly helpful, so they might believe what he says if he continues to be correct. Kai then meets with Jean, and she reveals that he was right, she is a girl. The only people that know she is a woman though are Fallon and a few veteran executives. It turns out that the names Kai mentioned earlier were the nicknames that Jean used for her father and grandfather. It's pretty convincing when it comes to Kai being from another world, but Jean is still skeptical. Kai's knowledge and battle skills could be useful though, so trusting him is worth the risk. Jean then reveals that she needs his help. They're planning to team up with the other 5 cities to surround and repel the demons that try to invade them. If they succeed, then they won't have to abandon their city. Rin fears that retaliation will only draw more demons to the city, and if a high-ranking demon decides to show up, then it could blow away the entire city with just one blast of its magic. Jean gets frustrated as she already knows all this, but has determined that they have no other choice. Kai shocks everyone though when he suggests that there's only one demon they should be aiming for, and that is the hero of the demons, the Dark Empress Vanessa. Jean can't believe that he's really suggesting that because Vanessa is an absolute monster. 30 years ago, she wiped out the capital's defense force and occupied the government palace all by herself. Kai knows just how dangerous she is, but he also knows that the only thing that's going to work on a monster like her is Cid's sword, the Code Holder. Because of how dangerous his idea is, Kai suggests that he and Rin will be the only ones to fight Vanessa directly. He explains that in his world, a man named Cid defeated Vanessa all by himself. Jean wonders if Kai is able to do the same, but he's just hoping so. Jean then wonders what Kai is doing all this for, and he agrees that it sounds pretty crazy for him to put himself in such danger for a world that he doesn't belong to. However, Kai has given it a lot of thought. His friends fought so hard for their lives, and he wouldn't be able to escape and return to his world if he didn't do something to help them. Kai goes back to talking about his plan and explains that demon forces are mostly deployed near the border because they're looking out for the other three races and not worrying too much about the humans. The demons near the royal capital likely only makes up for about 10% of the demon force. While he fights Vanessa, he would like the rebel army to keep the other demons occupied. Jean is confident that they can keep the demons busy for a couple hours, but she is sure that a lot of lives will be lost in the process. Just then, Fallon reveals that behind the palace, there's a private underground train line that the royal family used as refuge. No one knows about it, and Jean's father was the one that came up with the idea to use it against the demons. At the time, there was no one strong enough to fight the demons, so he gave up on his plan. Jean's father likely didn't tell Jean because he didn't want her going through with such a reckless plan. Jean can't believe that Fallon kept this a secret, and Fallon admits that she has found herself trusting in Kai's abilities as well. There is no time to hesitate, as the demons are likely preparing to attack, so Jean declares that it's time to challenge the hero of the demons and take back the Urza Federation. As the group prepares for their mission, Rin thinks about how much she hates all the races, and how she hates herself the most because she's made of all the things she hates about the races. Kai is the only person that ever embraced her, so she hopes that he doesn't die on this day. While the main forces keep the demons occupied, the plan is to free any Kaki any less scared, so Rin promises that she is strong enough to beat anyone other than Vanessa. If she ends up facing Vanessa alone, then Rin declares that she will just self-destruct and take Vanessa with her. Asura fears that they will be detected by the demons, but Kai explains that the demons are really only sensitive to magic. Humans don't have magic abilities, so it should be harder for them to be noticed. Asura is so nervous that his hands are shaking, but he knows that if they defeat the demons, they will be the talk of the world. They will be praised and maybe even rewarded. After a long drive, Jean gives an inspiring speech to her rebel army. She points out that they have been fighting the demons for as long as anyone can remember, and it's all been in preparation for this day. Jean declares that it's finally time for them to crawl out of their dark basement and have their voices heard. Everyone cheers in agreement, so Jean leads the charge to the surface. There, Kai is shocked to see what the government palace looks like, as it is swarming with demons. One demon uses a magic attack, but Kai has seen it before, and he lands a counter shot. He is able to quickly finish it off, but several more demons show up. Kai and Rin signal to each other like they know just what to do, and they use a powerful combination attack to wipe out a swarm of demons. Everyone is amazed by the attack, so Kai explains that he used a bullet manufactured in his world to combat groups of enemies. Kai decides that it's time for him to look for Vanessa, and he will start on the top floor of the north side. The north stairs have collapsed though, and they will have to break through 10 flights of stairs on the south. Jean then gives directions to the other groups. Group 1 is in charge of making sure that no demons get into the palace, and Group 2's job is to rescue the prisoners underground. On their way up the stairs, Fallon reveals that she didn't see Kai pull the trigger on his weapon when he launched his attack against the swarm of demons. There is no way the attack could have come from his gun, so Fallon begins to suspect that Kai isn't telling them something about Rin. Jean interrupts their conversation though, and brings up how Kai will be challenging Vanessa one-on-one. She hopes that Kai won't go back on his word, and he assures her that he won't. Just then, Rin spots a little imp, and it summons a large demon. This demon is clearly very dangerous as it attacks a guy in their group, but Fallon springs into action to slice the demon's fingers off, and she saves the guy. Fallon tells the others to go ahead as she can easily handle this beast, so Jean says that they will see her again at the top. Elsewhere, we see that the mission is going well as Group 2 makes contact with the prisoners, and Group 1 fights off some demons. Back with our group, everyone gets worried when an attack is aimed right at Jean. Jean is completely unharmed after it hits her though, and she explains that she is wearing elven armor. When it comes to magical resistance, nothing is better. Jean tells Kai to go on ahead, and he vows to keep his promise to defeat Vanessa. They leave, and Jean declares that the demon's opponent is the Knight of the Sacred Light. Kai's group is now down to 4, and they put on some armbands that will keep the demons from seeing them. Rin nearly reveals her secret by explaining that she used barrier magic on the sleeves, but Kai stops her. They come up with a lie about how it works, and just say that it refracts light and hides them. Just then, a terrifying monster appears, and Rin reminds everyone to stay silent. The beast gets really close to them, but they are hidden by their sleeves, and the monster leaves. Kai then tells Saki and Asura to wait in a break room. If it looks like Kai is going to lose his fight against Vanessa, then they will have to shut off all the lights so Kai and Rin can get away. The group splits up, but an alarm sounds soon after. Rin has no clue how they could have been found, so Kai suspects that there must be infrared sensors in the building. A demon appears before them, and he calls Rin hideous for having strange wings. Kai shuts him up and demands to know how they were found. The demon reveals that it was Vanessa's idea to use the human surveillance system. He explains that Vanessa was actually pleased to see the humans invading, and she is curious to know why they decided to end their lives this way. Kai wants this demon to take them to Vanessa since she is so happy about them being there, but the demon would rather have some fun himself. He prepares an attack, and Kai is shocked when Rin takes a hold of him. She tosses Kai to the side and tells him to go on without her. Kai refuses, but she tells him not to worry. She promises to be right behind him, and she uses her ice magic to separate Kai from the fight. Kai is furious, but he has no choice but to keep going. The demon can smell every race coming from Rin, so he can only wonder what she is. Rin explains that she doesn't even know what she is, but she does know that she hates demons. Rin prepares an attack and declares that she just wants to be with Kai. If the demons plan to interfere with that, then she will eliminate them. Kai reaches the top floor, and he's greeted by the Dark Empress Vanessa. Back with Jean, her group is doing their best, but the demon barely notices them, and he calls them weak. One of his fire attacks does nothing to Jean, and he's shocked to realize that she's wearing elven armor. Jean then changes her weapon into a longbow, and the attack she unleashes does some devastating damage. The demon still can't believe that she used elven and angelic magic items, because if they are used by humans incapable of magic, then it will chip away at their life source. The demon mocks her for sacrificing her life, but she puts an end to his life. Jean doesn't regret her decision at all, because it's the kind of resolve a human needs in order to defeat a demon. Her sacrifice is also nothing compared to facing off against a demon hero like Kai is doing. Just then, another terrifying beast threatens to take Jean's life, but Fallon arrives to rescue her. The demons know just how dangerous Fallon is, as they call her Dragonar. The situation outside is getting worse and worse, so the girls determine that everything depends on Kai's fight against Vanessa. Back with Kai, Vanessa reveals that she is a succubus. She offers to love Kai, but Kai points out that the only thing she actually loves is slaughter. Vanessa mistakes him for the warrior that wears elven armor, but Kai explains that he is someone who comes from a world where history claims her defeat. She refuses to believe that such a world exists, and she is even more shocked when Kai tells her that humans were the ones that won the War of the Races. This gives her a good laugh, as the other races are far more powerful than the humans, and she wonders who it was that defeated her. Kai says the name Prophet Sid, and she begins to whisper things, like she remembers some things about Sid. She says it's nothing though, and just prepares for battle. Kai quickly cancels her magic, and declares that she takes humans too lightly. His counterattack does nothing though, because Vanessa was using illusion magic. She's impressed by Kai's weapon, because it counters her magic, and unleashes an attack similar to that of a drake's breath. Her next powerful attack blows a hole right through the wall, and she curses herself for missing, because she was trying to avoid causing destruction to her fortress. Vanessa warns that she uses a blast that can destroy any race, and wonders what he plans to do about it. She unleashes the insanely powerful attack, and everyone around the entire palace can feel its destructive power. Vanessa declares that it's impossible to survive her attack. Only one of the heroes from each of the other 4 races can survive it, so she wonders why Kai is still alive. Kai thinks about how it was all thanks to Sid's sword, and Vanessa wonders where the sword came from. Just then, Rin appears to defend Kai, but he notices that she is badly wounded. Rin refuses to let that stop her though, and she tells Vanessa to come at her. Just then, a portal opens from behind Vanessa, and the robotic sounding monster from earlier grabs her. Its name is Last Riser, and she has determined that Vanessa has a high potential of influencing this world after hearing the name Sid. Vanessa realizes what's going on, but it's too late as Last Riser has already begun to remove Vanessa's code from this world. Vanessa manages to break free from her restraints, and she turns the tables on Last Riser. Vanessa calls Last Riser a dog of someone named Afria, and declares that someone like her can never take her head. Vanessa shows the incredible power of a hero as she says scatter, and her attack does massive damage. Last Riser is just barely alive, so she escapes back through her portal. Kai can't believe that this Vanessa was the hero that Rin fought, but something is wrong. Rin says that the Vanessa from her old world was not as scary as this Vanessa. Vanessa can't understand why her wounds aren't healing, but that isn't as important as finishing her fight with Kai and Rin. Vanessa prepares to eliminate our heroes, but Rin rushes to hold her, and she tells Kai to run away. She puts herself in a shadow prison with Vanessa, but Vanessa mocks her for thinking she could hold her back. Vanessa shows her just how fragile her barrier is by destroying it, and she prepares to finish Rin off. Kai rushes to rescue her as Rin tries to tell him to run away, but Vanessa just unleashes a powerful attack on him. Kai's body is now lifeless, so Rin cries out to him. Rin sobs uncontrollably, and Vanessa tells her that Kai is no longer alive. She wonders if Rin will try to get revenge or attempt to run for her life. Vanessa mocks her more as she thinks she has lost the will to live, but she is stunned when Rin's wounds begin to heal. Rin speaks with a terrifyingly calm voice and declares that she will never forgive Vanessa. Rin goes through some kind of transformation, and Vanessa is stunned because Rin's chaotic appearance seems to be a mix of all 5 races. Rin just tells her to shut up as she begins her attack, and she manages to push Vanessa back. Vanessa eventually stops her though, as she laughs like a psychopath, and she tells Rin that she should have used this form from the beginning. If she had, then Kai might have been able to escape. Vanessa determines that Rin must have been afraid to show her true form to Kai in fear that he would have rejected her. Vanessa makes fun of her for being the furthest thing from a human and for being afraid of being called a monster. She then blames Rin's hesitation for Kai's death, and Rin can't deny it. Rin regrets not doing this sooner, but she knows that she can't bring Kai back. Just then, Rin gets very serious and she tells Vanessa that it's time for both their lives to end. She takes hold of Vanessa and puts a curse on both of them. Rin explains that the droplets of blood coming out of Vanessa are drops of her life, and nothing Vanessa can do will stop them from flowing out of her. The blood will continue to flow out of them until both their lives end. Rin declares that it's all over, but she becomes confused and collapses. Vanessa explains that a curse is dependent on how much magical power its user possesses. Vanessa then reveals that she prepared a spell long before their fight even started. This spell impedes any magical spells cast by the most powerful races. Because Rin is a mix of all the races, this spell affects her several times more. Vanessa praises her for lasting so long and pities her for not belonging to any one race. Rin is completely defeated, so she begins apologizing to Kai over and over again. Vanessa has heard enough, so she uses an attack to end Rin's life. She is utterly horrified though when she sees that Kai has somehow rescued Rin. Kai thanks Rin for holding on while he was unconscious, and she wonders if she is dreaming. Vanessa points out that no human could possibly survive after being hit by her explosive magic at such a close range, and Kai thinks about how he was once again saved by Sid's sword. Vanessa is shocked to see that he wants to challenge her again, so she tells him to know his place. She reminds him that he's just a piece of trash that got lucky, and he had to crawl back while Rin fought for him. This backfires though, as Kai declares that that is why he must defeat her. Rin risked her life fighting Vanessa, so Kai declares that he must show the same determination. Vanessa wonders if he has something up his sleeve as well, and she explains that all humans she has fought proclaimed that they would show her the strength of the humans. However, they all turned out to be liars. Vanessa lists the heroes of each race and explains that she actually acknowledges them. However, when it comes to the humans, there is no hero. Vanessa wonders if Kai wants to take this title, but Kai says that he has no desire to become humanity's hero. Kai does intend on showing her something, so she wonders if he will show her the strength or potential of the humans. Kai says it's neither of those, as he actually intends to show her the spirit of the humans. This world has no hero for the humans, but Kai will gladly be humanity's representative as he fights Vanessa. Vanessa's unfazed by his declaration, and she summons an attack called the Devil's Planet. This thing is gigantic, but Kai uses his sword to eliminate it. Vanessa prepares another terrifying attack, but Kai contacts the others and has them shut off the lights. Humans don't have magic abilities, so Vanessa can't sense them in the dark, but she can see Kai's sword. She launches an attack at it, but it turns out that Rin was holding it as a distraction. Kai appears behind Vanessa and declares that he trained 10 years for this very moment. Rin tosses him his sword, and Kai says that the fight is over. Vanessa accepts her defeat, and Kai slices right through her. Just then, Kai is shocked as Vanessa begins to remember who Sid the Prophet is. She remembers him telling her about how the world will be rewritten, and she realizes now that this is what he was talking about. Sid called it the world reincarnation, but this means that someone to her because it is the one and only key to correcting the alteration of the world. Kai is shocked because history says that she and Sid were enemies that fought each other relentlessly. Vanessa admits to fighting Sid, but reveals that that isn't the whole story. There is a forbidden code hidden away in the world that Sid knows. It's called the Zero Code, and it's a troublesome magic. Vanessa congratulates Kai for defeating her, and she acknowledges the courage it took for him to let go of his ultimate weapon. Vanessa commends his clever planning and acknowledges the powerful human spirit. Vanessa begins to disappear, but warns Kai to be ready in case they ever meet again. She promises to fight him as a succubus next time and disappears. Kai is exhausted, but he can now relax as Rin tells him that he has won against the hero of the demons. It is announced to the other rebel groups that Jean and her army have retaken the royal capital and defeated the hero of the demons. Kai thought that something happened to him and Rin, but in reality it's the opposite. Something happened to the world, and they were the only two people who weren't affected. Rin just wants things to go back to the way they were, and Kai agrees. Jean thanks Kai for helping the rebel army, but she can tell that something is wrong. Kai just isn't sure if he would be able to defeat Vanessa if he saw her again, but Jean just wants him to celebrate his victory. Thanks to him, the humans will be able to rebuild the city even better than it was 30 years ago. Jean will be leaving that responsibility to those that were around 30 years ago, as she reveals that she will be leaving Urza. She then explains that 3 federations were taken over. One by the Celestials, one by the Spirits, and one by the mythical beasts. There's a rebel group fighting against each one, and Jean will be working with them to deploy the other races, so Jean wants Kai and Rin to come with her. With their help, she hopes to pull off what the humans in Kai's world did. Jean asks Kai to fight alongside them so they can finish the Great War of the 5 races. She wonders why Kai is so silent, so he explains that he's amazed by her. The Jean in his world was always ambitious, but she also had a childish side to her. She would always talk to Kai about personal stuff, and she thought about what presents to get her friends. Jean can't believe that that side of her exists, and Kai promises to tell her more about it when they have time. Kai agrees to fight by Jean's side, but he also asks for her support in his fight against the 3 remaining heroes. They both agree to end the War of the 5 races together, and Rin says that she will join just to be by Kai's side. Later, the troops still can't believe that they really took back the royal capital. With no Sid around, Kai vows to end the Great War of the 5 races himself. Then he will find out who's behind the world reincarnation and set the world right. A while later, we watch as Rin runs from someone and some guy helps her. Rin wakes up from this dream, and we learn that our group is headed to another federation. Requests for assistance are coming from other countries, and Jean is humanity's hope right now. A look back to just before they left the capital shows that a demon had appeared before them. She was upset that they defeated her sister Vanessa, and she attacked Kai. Rin stopped her, and the demon explained that she just wanted to greet the humans. Her name was Meryl, and Kai wondered if she is stronger than Vanessa. Meryl assured them that they wouldn't have won if she was around, and Kai assumed that she was there to take revenge for Vanessa. Meryl had a good laugh at this, because while she does love her sister, her no longer being around means that she is number 1. She got down to business and explained that if the demons decided to unite, then they would easily be able to reclaim the royal capital anytime. The demons are purposely letting them have the royal capital, so they want to take a break from fighting. Kai saw right through her though, and determined that the demons feared that further fighting would just leave them vulnerable to the other 3 races. Himmel just offered to let them keep the capital as long as the demons were allowed to keep all the other territories. Kai agreed to inform the commander, and Himmel just asked for Rin to stop glaring at her. Himmel promised to cheer them on, but Kai knew that she just wanted them to all take each other out. Himmel realized that she had been caught, so she promised to defeat the humans one day. She warned them about the celestial hero named Alfreya and left. Back to the present, our group discusses how they will be facing the Celestials. Celestials are elves, dwarves, fairies, and angels. They are more cowardly and cunning than humans, and they create powerful magic items to use in battle. Demons are considered monsters, but Celestials are considered enhanced humans. Our group prepares to find a rest area, but Rin senses that a mythical beast is above them. This is incredibly strange since they are still in demon territory, so Kai tells everyone in their convoy to move forward at full speed. The troops fire at the dragon, but it just attacks their convoy. Kai and Rin team up to use a powerful attack, and they manage to scare away the beast. After the other troops are rescued, the entire army arrives at the rest area. That night, Kai tells Rin that there's a tent for female soldiers, but she refuses to leave. Jean arrives, and Fallon takes Kai outside to speak with him. She will stand guard outside, while Kai stands guard inside the tent. Fallon fears that people will find out that Jean is a woman if she stays too close to her, so it's best if Kai is the one to be by her side. Jean will have to remove her armor to sleep, so she warns Kai not to get any funny ideas. Kai returns to the tent, and he finds that Rin is giving Jean a massage. Pretending to be a guy is pretty difficult, so Jean really takes a moment to relax. Kai still can't believe that a dragon appeared, and he assumes that it was there to scout the area after news spread about the demon's hero being defeated. Jean explains that they made sure the royal capital was well protected before they left, so there's no need to worry about them being attacked. Jean becomes very serious as she has something important to tell Kai, but this just turns out to be that she tosses and turns in her sleep. Moments later, Kai becomes really uncomfortable as he can't sleep with the girls clinging onto him. The next morning, Kai is exhausted, and he just pretends like he couldn't sleep because of the stress of having to be Jean's bodyguard. It is announced that they will be crossing the border soon, which means they will finally have reached the Low Federation. Their destination is the Rebel Army headquarters in a city just outside of the Low Federation. Saki prepares herself with a weapon because it's crucial to strike first if they encounter a Celestial. Their guns are more effective against Celestials than dragons, but Kai still reminds Saki to take a deep breath before shooting. Humans and Celestials look pretty similar, so Kai tells her to be careful before shooting someone. Rin shows off some fruit she found, but Kai wonders if it's poisonous. Rin doesn't think it is because it just tickles a bit when she bites it, but Kai freaks out because that's probably poison. This isn't her first time eating them though, as she once ate them in the Elven Forest. Jean explains that the fruit is there because of the Celestial invasion. The human city was buried along with the Elven Forest. Just then, our group notices that they're being welcomed by civilians. A low Rebel Army advisor greets them and introduces himself as Zephin. They receive the news of Kai defeating the demon hero, and it has given all the troops a lot of hope. Zephin has some sort of past with Fallon, and he's surprised to have lived long enough to see her again. They then all head to see the low rebel commander named Dante. He is a descendant of some royal family, so he calls himself an emperor. Fallon knows all about this guy, and she explains that he's very envious, suspicious, and obsessive. Because of this, he sees Jean as a threat. Their group is greeted by the commander's assistant named Kibiri, and she explains that she must be present anytime anyone wants to speak with the commander. Commander Dante complains about them being late, so Jean explains that they had to deal with a dragon. This rude guy doesn't want to hear any excuses, and he just gets right down to business. He knows that Jean's army defeated the demon hero, so he assumes that she intends on taking even more glory by stealing his low rebel army. Jean explains that the low army requested her assistance, but Dante had nothing to do with that. His assistants called for help without his permission. Jean points out that the Celestials need to be eliminated, and it doesn't matter who takes the glory. She offers some advice to Dante, but he gets insulted because apparently emperors don't need advice. Jean gives it anyway and explains that they won't be the ones who decide what honors are awarded after defeating the Celestials. The people will decide, so all they can do is behave in a way that's worthy of respect. Afterwards, Zephyr shows everyone a map of the uncharted territories that the Celestials reside in. They don't know where the hero of the Celestials is, so everyone is shocked when Jean declares that she will lead the search. Dante is clearly upset, but Jean still asks if she can borrow his army's elite soldiers. Dante mocks her for going to the front lines, but she explains that she's choosing to lend her life to those that are continuing to fight on this land. The troops are in awe of her, but Dante is clearly not happy. That night, Rin eagerly waits for dinner to be ready, but the others wonder if the soup she made will really be edible. Asura starts talking about the assistant they met earlier, but this girl made Rin feel uneasy. The next day, Jean and the troops arrive at the Elven Forest. Back at base, Dante still thinks that Jean is a man, and he hates how reckless Jean is. Kabiri of course agrees with him by saying that generals should remain at the rear camp while commanding the army. Kabiri tells the commander not to stress about Jean and his recklessness, and Dante commends her for being his only proper subordinate. A while later, Jean returns to the base with enough information to create a map. With the scouting done, they can have a strategy meeting the next morning. Fallon is upset that Jean went on an expedition without her, but Kai points out that she did it to gain the trust of the low rebel army. They have their strategy meeting the next day, and everyone gasps when Jean reveals that they found Celestial footprints near some patrol routes. She wants to explore the Celestial territory again so they can plan an invasion strategy, so she asks everyone for their cooperation. Rin eagerly wants to fight some angels and elves, but Jean warns against carelessly stepping into enemy territory. Rin agrees to wait, but she notices that she hasn't seen Kabiri around. Dante isn't around either, but Kai just assumes that it's because he doesn't care much about being on the field. Elsewhere, Dante's busy getting hammered and raging about Jean taking charge. Kabiri has a solution though, and explains that Dante just has to achieve something greater than Jean. She hands him a note with what she has in mind, and declares that if he is successful, then he will get his glory back. Later, Zephyr is shocked to hear that Dante is going to personally lead the soldiers into the Elven Forest. Dante says that he already has someone exploring the Elven Forest for him, but this is the first Zephyr is hearing about this. Zephyr fears that this will cause issues with Jean's rebel force, but Dante reminds him who's boss. Dante allows Zephyr to join him, but instructs him not to say anything to Jean. Elsewhere, Rin is hesitant to tell Kai something because she fears that it will cause trouble. Kai tells her to spit it out already, so Rin reveals that she doesn't think Kabiri is human. In the woods, we see that a massacre just took place. Some elves are shocked because the hero of the Celestials has decided to betray them. He hates all the other races, but he also thinks that elves, dwarves, and fairies are not needed. The elves think that he has gone mad, and they wonder who the monster is behind him. The hero tells them that they don't need to know because starting now, he is severing ties with them. The elves are so shocked that they can't move, so the hero attacks them. He freezes the elder elf, and the other elf falls to earth. A while later, she wakes up in a panic, and she has some kind of telepathy that lets her hear the other worried elves. They desperately want to know where the elder is, but she calms them down and tells everyone to gather for a meeting. Her name is Rayrin, and she is told that her group has captured some humans. A look back at our group reveals that they haven't been able to contact Dante since the day before. It was pretty strange for him to charge into the forest, so Kai assumes that he was instigated by someone. He predicts that Kabiri is an elven spy, since elves can easily disguise themselves as humans by hiding their ears. There may be other elf spies in the army, so Jean decides that they will have to investigate themselves. They eventually find the scene of a battle, which makes it clear that Dante and the others fell for a trap. The trap seems pretty obvious because it's just a giant magic circle, but Kai reveals that the real trap is above them. The trap is hard to see because of the sunlight, but Kai has previous knowledge from his old world about how elves like to use multiple traps all at once. Just then, Rin whispers to Kai that she senses something nearby, and she thinks it's an elf. They head in its direction, and Kai tells the others that Win went through special training to sense magic. They arrive at the spot where the smell was coming from, and they're all stunned as they are transported somewhere. Saki accuses Asura of getting a little handsy with her, but he points out that she used him as a landing pad. They seem to be in the elven forest, and Kai explains that they just went through a celestial gate. Just then, some strange girl appears and begs for a butterfly to be her friend. Fallon warns everyone to be careful because the girl is definitely a celestial, and the girl runs into Asura. He tries to ask her where she's from, but she just wonders why she doesn't sense any magic coming from him. Asura explains that it's because they are humans, but this just makes the girl run away out of fear that they will eat her alive. Our group follows her, and they are met by archers. Kabiri appears to stop them from firing though, and she expresses her disbelief from them being able to activate the gate. Jean just outright calls her a spy and demands to know where Dante and the others are. Kabiri reveals that they are alive, but they have inhaled the pollen from some paralysis plants, so they won't be able to move for a few days. Jean demands that she release the hostages, but Kabiri has a request first. She acknowledges that they defeated the hero of the demons, so Kabiri asks them to fight the angels for her. Our group is shocked because they're both celestials, but Kabiri explains that the angels have betrayed them. Our group is taken to see Rayren, and she explains that they are the first humans to ever enter the elf village. Rayren can tell that Jean is wearing elven armor, so Jean explains that she retrieved it after defeating some demons that stole it from celestials. Rayren lets it slide because Jean didn't steal it from an elf herself, and she proposes a contract to them. Rayren agrees to free the hostages, but in return she wants them to rescue the Great Elder from the celestial hero named Alfreya. Kai is familiar with the name, but Rayren says that Alfreya has changed. He was always warm and gentle, but for some reason he demanded that elves, dwarves, and fairies become servants to the angels. Rayren and the Elder went to speak to him on behalf of the other celestials, but he refused to speak, and Alfreya just captured the Elder. Rayren will give them guidance on their journey, but it will mainly be something they have to do themselves. Fallon wants proof that this isn't a trap because it would be big trouble for them if they end up getting ambushed by elves and angels. Kabiri shocks everyone by saying that she will go with them, and if they feel like something is wrong, then they can end her life. Fallon rejects her offer and correctly points out that her single life is not worth 6 of theirs plus the lives of the hostages. Fallon insists that they put more lives on the line or offer up a life that is far more valuable. Rayren is then the one to shock everyone when she offers her life. Kabiri tries to stop her, but it's too late as Rayren has already decided to accompany the humans. She wants to avoid civil war among the Celestials at all costs, so she tells the rest of their group not to take any action. She sends the dwarves and fairies back to their posts, and everyone is shocked by how fast they move. Rayren has the girl named Silky bring some tulips, so everyone takes a seat and listens to the details of her plan. That night, Rayren sees that Kai is not sleeping, so she promises not to attack them in their sleep. She won't make any moves while they're still under contract, so Kai agrees to relax. Rayren was told that Kai and Rin were the ones that defeated Vanessa, so she wonders if Kai's power will also work against the Lord of Heaven, Alfreya. Rayren is sure that Kai will be the one who ends up fighting Alfreya, so if he can't win, then everyone will just end up dying together. Rayren prepares to leave, but she has one more thing to say. If Kai runs away out of fear during battle, then she will eliminate everyone he knows. Kai has a question for her, and asks if she knows someone named Sid. Rayren doesn't, so she just leaves. Kai thinks about how Vanessa seems to be the only one that knows about Sid, and he remembers how she told him to find the person behind the world's reincarnation. She was sure that it was one of the 3 other heroes, so Kai eagerly wants to confront the hero of the Celestials, the Lord of Heaven, Alfreya. The next morning, Rayren explains that the Angel's Palace is up some giant tree. There are a few floating fortresses, but she is sure that Alfreya is in the one called the Angel's Palace. Kai is impressed by the measures taken to protect this palace, so he assumes that they did it as a countermeasure against humans. Rayren says that no one is afraid of humans, and the ones they're actually on alert for are demons, spirits, and mythical beasts. Rayren's impressed by how fearless Kai is, and he thinks about how he knows a man who faced all 4 heroes by himself. They teleport up to the palace, and Rayren is shocked to see a bunch of lifeless bodies. Everyone is still alive, but she still can't figure out who would do this to the angels. Kai doesn't know either, but he points out that this works in their favor. They head further inside the palace, and it becomes very clear to Jean that they would have had trouble navigating through it if Rayran didn't come along. After another teleportation, our group must dodge an attack from someone that tells them that they stink. Rayran is stunned because this woman is known as War Angel Vicious. Vicious flings some insults at the elf and reveals that she was the one that attacked the angels at the entrance. Her reason was because they were disloyal fools who refused to obey Alfreya. Rayran is then horrified when Vicious declares that they will soon eliminate the Elder, as it will serve as a message to the elves, fairies, and dwarves. That message is that they are inferior to the angels and they need to bow down. A fight breaks out as Fallon attacks the angel, and Vicious is annoyed that Rayran brought humans to the sake but they are attacked by another angel. His name is Raffaello, and Rayran fully expected to see him there. Rin tells everyone to go on ahead, and she promises not to lose against this giant tin can. Raffaello admires Rin's sacrifice, but Rin says that she does not intend on losing. Up above, Rayran goes around undoing several barriers that are protecting Alfreya. Jean reveals that she has been wanting to say something to Kai, so she apologizes for leaving him to fight Vanessa in their last battle. It was the most dangerous fight, but this time she promises to fight alongside him. After removing the barriers, Rayran teleports them one last time. They find the trapped Elder, and Alfreya appears before them. He mocks humans for having no wings, and for only being able to look up at the heavens. Alfreya says that blessings come from the heavens, but angels are the only ones entitled to receive them. Thanks for watching my recap. Subscribe to the channel to help us reach 700,000 subscribers.